Good noon, good afternoon. I hope everyone is doing well. And let's just begin seated today. Now you can have a seat on a chair or on your mat, whichever is more convenient. I'm going to sit on this chair just to start today with the breath. Of course, we'll start with the in the nose, out the mouth breath. Drinking in any positive thoughts that you think of that come to mind. Exhaling out any tension or stress or worry that might be lingering around you. Just breathe it all out to be neutralized. Inhale the fresh. Exhale out all that does not serve us any longer. And then let's notch our fingers, come to our collarbones, and down about an inch over, maybe a little bit, an inch. Tap, thumper massage. This is the wake up. Breathing in through the nose and out the mouth. Waking up the entire meridian system. The meridians carry energy like veins carry blood, remember. So we're waking up the body essentially here. Shaking it off, flicking the fingers. That shakes off excess energy and also stimulates meridians that begin around on the fingertips. Come to your sternum now. This I recommend you do anytime you think about it. You can't do it too often. It stimulates our immune cells, the T cells that we need to keep our immune system strong. Breathing in the nose, out the mouth. Think of it as a shot of vitamin C, maybe even stronger than that. Shake it off. Move down to the side seams beneath the bra line or right there at the rib cage, metabolizing, digesting. Spleen points. They're a little bit sore. Maybe there's some excess things we need to move out. Maybe that experience we had with somebody, there was a disagreement or something we ate. And sometimes you'll find it on one side, not the other. Just work on that until it passes and moves out the system. Continue breathing in the nose, out the mouth. Come to your cheekbones, stomach meridian, associated with the earth element, the time we're in right now, the changing of the seasons, the going into the equinox, the equal day and night, balance, grounding, shake it off, pause. Take 2 to 3 breaths to integrate the 4 thumps. All of our breaths are going to be a little bit different, so no worries. Then we'll begin our seated little march. Just slap one leg or thigh and then the other. 3 to 4 rounds, dust off to pause the energy, and then cross that over to strengthen or bring our energies back to that crossover pattern that brings us back to our 100% energy. So we want to do this 10 to 12 times, and we can repeat this as many times as we want in a day. We can also slice across from one shoulder to opposite hip. I do this every time I get out of the car with my purse hanging on my shoulder. Just helps get the energy crossover pattern going once again. Hover hands over the pubic bone as you set an intention, maybe for your practice, any positive affirmation that may come to mind. Zip that up and exhale that out into your field. 2 more times. Zip up and exhale. Last time. And finally, we have the hook up. Middle finger in the belly button and the other one is in between the brows. Just think about that as a little hook. Hook it into it. This is also setting your core, setting your intention, setting your energetic spine. It's the #1 best way to cleanse your aura, your space around you. And then shake that off. Now, while we're still seated, if you're in a chair, you'll just simply cross one ankle over. And if you're seated on your mat, you'll simply cross the other leg, like so, just above the knee, above or below, wherever it goes. Well, you'll take that opposite arm, hold on to the ankle, and the same arm as the leg crossed to the balls of the feet. So that's from the floor, and I'm going to demo this from the chair today because it's fairly easy from the chair. So you just place this opposite hand here. 4 to 5 deep breaths. This is the Wayne Cook posture, unscrambling energies, finding our words. It's also known as the schoolyard hookup. And we've done that several times, and that's a standing posture. So you could do this standing as well. Inhale, then exhale. Shake it off. Uncross, switching sides. Same opposite hold to the opposite side. Inhale and exhale. I'll try not to name sides because when it comes across on this recording, it's opposite of what I say. So if I say a side and it's the other one, well, we're probably going to do both sides. So we'll just go with that. And shake that off. And now, either from our chair or we can be on the floor. I'll move to the floor in just a moment. We can be sitting in our regular easy seated pose on the floor or in the chair. And let's come into some seated twists, just very gentle as we move to one side. Just showing you the things we can do in a chair. You don't have to have the feet up here. We can just sit and twist like this. 2 to 3 breaths. Coming to the other side. And then back to center. Let's do that one more time on either side. So as we're sitting here, just turn. You could use this hand behind for a little bit of support and to keep your spine in an upright position. Breathing. Now you can change the breath up to your natural breath or continue with that in the nose, out the mouth. Turning the opposite way. Breathe. Back center, place your hands on your knees. Scoop out from the belly, bring the shoulders a little forward into a seated cat. And come forward, seated cow or that back bend position. Breathing as we move, perhaps exhaling as we come into that cat stretch. Inhale, forward. If that breath doesn't work for you, find the breathing pattern that works best for you. Bring in some circles as as if you're auguring or really grounding yourself into the earth, finding that balance. We're always searching for balance, and when we find it, we're there for a nanosecond before we're spun out again. But the more we work toward balance, and we will find it, but we just don't stay there. But again, the more we work toward it, the easier it is to come into balance, and knowing that we're always ebbing and flowing in and out of that balance. Yoga is a great practice for finding and maintaining a balance in your life. So as we sit here again, I invite you to sit in easy seated pose, maybe a loose Baddha Konasana or a cobbler's pose here with the soles of the feet together. And let's do some little side stretches. Extend one hand out to the side, lift and feel that lateral side stretch as we breathe, opening up to all the possibilities, all sides. Breathe. And again, other side. Side two. Let's do one more set here. And other side. Come back to center. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Now we can extend our legs out with just a little bit of a width or distance between them. Maybe hip width or just a little bit wider. Drawing the toes in toward our shins. And if you need a little bit of a boost, if you have tighter hamstrings, or it's very difficult or challenging to sit up this way, roll up a towel or a blanket or even a pillow, sit on the edge there, and that's going to give you that forward or anterior pelvic tilt to give you a little release in the low back or relief for sitting in this position. So let's weave the arms up. Remember, weaving helps clear your space. Think of it as clearing the energy as we hinge forward, leading with the navel. Make the attachment somewhere between the knees and the ankles. Pause here, gazing at the horizon, which is where your eye level is. Your gaze, your drishti. Slowly come back up and weave the arms once again. Forward fold. Make that attachment. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, sink into this forward fold. Deep breathing. This time we'll take the flat hand over the arch side, inside of the big toe, tracing the spleen meridian. Remember, tracing the spleen meridian keeps that system humming and strong. Since it's working all the time, we want to continue to keep that strong and balanced. Balance is the key word for today, I've decided. Sit up tall, assess how you're feeling here, and then we don't have to have a loop or a strap, but if you have something handy, you may want that. Otherwise, no big deal, no judgment. We're just going to do the little back scratch test here. So I'm going to sweep my hand, right arm out to the side, and then place that up behind the back. Sweep the left behind and reach toward each other. May or may not touch. I can touch on one side, but not the other. Funny how I always go to the side that touches first. So we want to be sitting up tall. If you have to hunch over to try and do this, then just go where you are. Be where you are. Lift through the crown of the head. Take one more deep breath. Now you don't have to kneel here. You can sit comfortably, however that is for you. Release. Roll the shoulders. Deep breath. Opposite hand comes overhead. Sweep behind. Reaching up. Lift. Keep the crown of the head lifting. The chest lifting and breathing deeply here. And release. So again, let's draw the shoulders toward the ears like we're using our shoulders as earrings, which we usually don't in yoga. Draw them up, draw them back, and release. We're going to do that a couple more times. This does help fatigue those neck muscles so it loosens and releases some of that tension. Once again, draw the shoulders up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Back and down. Look both ways. One more time. Draw the shoulders up. Send them back. And down. Drop the chin toward the chest. Take a breath here. Inhale. Take the head back. Press out with the chin. The scooping motion like a pelican. A pelican's little gullet can hold more than his belly can. Come back to center. Let's do a little neck stretch here. Fingers to the side of the head. So we draw that down. Option to place the other hand on the shoulder to kind of help lengthen that stretch all through the neck and shoulder area. Breathe deeply here. Return center, switching sides. Breathe. And come back centered. Roll shoulders. Now let's come to all fours. You may want some padding for your knees. If that's too much, you can place a chair beneath here to take some of that off, or take a low chair. Take some of that weight off the knees. Just another option. And let's stack our joints in our tabletop and begin some cat and cow stretches. Again, tuck tailbone and draw the back up. Inhale on this back bend. And feel free to move however your body may be speaking to you. What is it saying? Is it saying, oh, let's go side to side. Let's move the neck and head around. Think about just a snake movement. I know some people don't necessarily like snakes, but they wriggle and wiggle to different movements. So I invite you to do the same. Maybe feel a little bit of a hip and glute stretch as you come side to side. If you have any wrist issues, as I do sometimes, you can substitute fist for wrist so long as the joints are stacked. Downward facing dog, not stacked. So it's any stacked joint we can do that with. Maybe tuck our toes. If this is available to you, come back to stretch through the soles of the feet and the toes. Forward, tops of the feet down. Maybe sit back if this is available, just doing what you can. Maybe have a blanket or a block that you can sit back on. Breathe here. And then return to that all fours position. I'm going to move towards spinal balance. Another balance. Let's extend one leg out, flexing through that foot, lift it no higher than hip high. And then extend the opposite arm, reaching here. Breathe, all the while drawing that tummy button in and up. Think of that hook up. And then release. Maybe reset in cat-cow. Come back to neutral spine and switch sides. Other leg, opposite arm. Spinal balance. Breathe. You can tuck the toe for a little bit more stability here. And back down, reset in cat-cow. Now this next series we'll do a little bit of a flow. So we'll reach here, spinal balance. Exhale, knee to the elbow. Reach. Again, knee toward elbow. Does not have to touch. Last time. And return, all fours, reset. Doing what we can for today. Other side, reach. And flow, elbow to knee. Reach. Breathing all the while. Pause. Come back down. Take the knees wide and come down on the forearms. Maybe rest your forehead down or come into full child's pose for 5 breaths. From wherever you are, child's pose or puppy pose, slowly walk your hands over to one side to realize that side stretch. Take a full deep breath. Move back to center and then to the other side. Come back to center and up. From our all fours, let's kick out the lower leg. Chair's in the way. And come in to kneeling side plank. Now we don't have to raise that arm. If that's too much on the wrist or the knee, you can be down here. It's a little awkward here, just to let you know. And then we'll just flow up into gate pose. So we'll make this a little bit of a flow. As we come down, kneeling side plank, we can come up into kneeling half moon from here, lifting that top leg. And then back into gate. Breathing all the while. And back center. And this time, let's return to our all fours, reset the body in our cat-cow. And then we have the opposite side. So we'll kick out that opposite leg and come into kneeling side plank on the other side. You could always have a block or blanket or even a ball beneath the hand for a little bit more height and stability. And then we'll come up into that gate pose, flowing here on this side. Full deep breaths. And again, you have that option to lift that long leg. We'll do one more. And then come down, all fours once again. Splay the fingers and tuck our toes. We'll move from our all fours to downward facing dog, to all fours, to child's pose. Fours to downward facing dog. Breathe. And move at your own pace. Always, if something hurts, please avoid doing it. And back. Feedback is always good. I appreciate it. Gives me things to work with. And downward facing dog. One more time here. This time, all fours. We'll tuck toes, draw ourselves up, downward facing dog, and begin to walk the feet in wide. Walk the hands toward the feet. So we're in forward fold. Nod the head. Shake it side to side. While we're here, we can trace our spleen meridian. Inside, arch side, inside seams of the legs. Wider at the torso, along the breasts, almost to shoulders and back down. Give those points a buzz. Shake it off. Stand in your mountain pose and assess how you're feeling. So we have been doing some good breathing, flowing, balancing. And I thought we'd go into any variation of tree. There's the bent tree that I just was looking at in my backyard earlier. I thought, hey, just soften our knee. Or you might want a chair here or some other stable surface where you can put your opposite hand. So cross over one ankle and maybe bend this other almost toward chair. And you can be here or almost lean against a wall or a counter or a chair. And maybe you just want it there in case you need it. It's always good to have something stable to fall back on. Breathe. The leg will probably start shaking. You'll feel it. That's strength making its way into your muscles. Breathe. We've got 2 more deep breaths. Very good. Release. Shake it out. Shake out the legs. And let's take that to the other side. Again, if you need to use that toe as a kickstand, by all means, please do. Think of that hookup. Hooking up. In that core. Cross the ankle over. Maybe the hands are at heart center. Maybe you want to grow those branches out. Branch out. I forgot I have my tree pose shirt on. Breathe, expand, be open to all there is. Two more deep breaths. And slowly release down, hands to heart center. And to our sides. Thinking about the conclusion of summer. Summer, the season, an element of fire. Let's do the bringing down the flame, the emotions, the challenging emotion of anxiety. Balancing emotions are inspiration and joy. So think about bringing down that anxiety, bringing in, creating inspiration and joy. Tent the thumbs and fingers together. Exhale, tap the thumbs to the crown of the head. Send that fire down through the crown. Sweep it around, thumbs to the forehead. Third eye. Send that fire into your intuitive center. Sweep the hands around to our heart center. Fire evenly burning for giving and receiving love. Make that sound. Ha, release. Sweep around, thumbs just above the navel. Exhaling out any anxiety. Flatten the hands on the belly. Belly button in between that little triangle. Sweep the hands off the feet. Maybe weave your way up or trace the spleen meridian, your choice. We'll do cradling the baby, which is the earth element, the time we're in, right in between the seasons, heading in toward the autumnal equinox next Tuesday. So let's just place our hands on our spleen points, giving ourselves this hug. How often do we hug each other? How often do we hug ourselves, I should say? So we're giving ourselves that love. Cradling the baby is the name of this peak pose for the earth time of the earth element. The breath is the ujjayi, in the nose and out the nose. And it's that exhale with the lips sealed that you can hear. Maybe someone that's very near you could hear, but not clear across the room. An ocean breath, like fogging a mirror on the exhale. Reach up toward the heavenlies for what you need. Bring the hands together, thumbs to the third eye, between the brows. Bring the fingers around and comb over the forehead, smooth behind the ears. Give yourselves a little squeeze on the shoulders, and then sweep down the front. If it's available, you can reach and give your toes a squeeze, placing the hands under the insides of the big toe mounds. And softening bum down and lengthening legs just to where you can, whatever's available. You can also intend to do this from a hang. Intention is everything. Tracing spleen meridian one more time as we come up. Shaking that off. Again, I should have told you, anytime we are in a forward fold, you want to be mindful about coming up slowly, especially if you take any medication or have lower blood pressure or are on blood pressure medication. It's just very good idea to come up slowly. It's a good idea, period. Many times I've come up too quickly and been dizzy. So be mindful of that. Let's take a wide stance now. Soft knees, horse stance. Hands right at our hip hinge. And we'll just hinge forward here and rotate. Drop one shoulder down, gazing up over the opposite. Inhale back. Hinge the other way. Inhale back. Once again, side one. Hinge. Just rotate, shoulder dips. And back up. Last time. Hinge. And dip. Slowly coming back up. Heel toe the feet in. And then we'll step out once again. We're going into a moving balance. Since we're moving, all the time we're moving. The earth is always rotating. So let's think about a moving balance. You can pause to test your balance here, or move with momentum back and forth. Breathing, of course, all the while. Let's do one more to each side. Release down, shake it off, and then we'll do one more balance before moving to a floor. This one is with both feet. There'll be a little brain gym involved here. So just standing tall, maybe lift the toes up and press down through the big toe mounds and the heel. Find your center. Slowly roll up, lift the heels. It doesn't have to be very much. And then come back down. The next time we lift the heels, we'll lift the hands. Pausing at the top. That is the challenge. And slowly exhaling down. Once again, inhale, heels lift, hands lift. Pause at the top. And exhale. This next time, right arm stops right at the shoulder, left arm lifts all the way. And then lower left and right down. Other side, lift. That arm stops perpendicular to the shoulder. And then we come down. Give ourselves another hug. Really reach the fingertips back. Kind of dig in to your shoulder blades if you can. And then we'll come to standing at the top of our mats. In our mountain pose, weave the arms. See if you can feel anything in the air right around you as you weave. Maybe it's just very subtle. Maybe it's nothing. Slowly soften the knees as you come to forward fold. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, sink in, soft knees, hands at either side of our feet. Step back and come down to all fours. Now we'll work on a plank, a little bit of core work. So there are different options here. We can be on our forearms as well as our knees, as long as our shoulders are over our elbows. We can be on the full arm and kneeling. Any of you are a powerhouse and want to be in full plank, you can do that as well. 3 to 5 breaths. And let's begin. Breathe. Draw your scapula, your shoulder blades down alongside your spine. 2 more breaths. Release down. Bring your elbows out. We're going to do the bean with head heel, so that palming, calming, taking tension down, rubbing those hands vigorously together and placing them over our eyes, resting on the cheekbones. You know, you can even hold them out in the field if it feels better for you. Or you can support your head and rest here. If this posture is not for you, you can be in child's pose. Know that you can do what you are guided to do. Full deep breathing here. When you feel complete, just slowly release. Slide up and drop your hip to the side as you bring your legs forward once again. And remember, you can always use that folded blanket or fold your mat up a little bit to give you a little bit of that tilt, that anterior pelvic tilt. It's kind of like a wedge, and it releases some of those straining back muscles and for tighter hamstrings. So I'll show you, this is a neurolymphatic clearing technique. The lymphatics is a detox. So we're just moving the energy. Our lymph does not have its own pump. So by exercising or manually doing this, we get lymph to move. This one is for large and small intestines. So if you have a tendency toward loose stools, you would start just above the knee, right here on the knuckles. You can use the notched fingers as well on the inner and outer seams. By the way, this doesn't feel good, but it is effective. So you press in either with those flat parts of between the knuckles and the knuckles here. Press in, you draw up for loose stools. If you have a tendency toward constipation, you start here at the leg pit and the outer hip and move your way down to just above the knee. Now you want to do 4 to 5 deep passes And if you don't feel anything, then you're not doing it hard enough. So this is something that you need to give a little pressure to. If you bruise easily, be mindful of that. So know that. If you have no issues, if you have no tendency toward constipation or loose stools, then it doesn't matter which way you go, whether you start at the knee to the leg pit for loose stools or the leg pit to the knee for constipation. Again, do 4 to 5 passes on each leg. Breathing deeply. Shake it off when you're finished. That is effective. And let me know. So from here, let's come on to our back sides. And we'll bring our knees into our chest, giving ourselves a nice hug in. From here, we'll go into our blowing out the candle, having the courage to move through the fear. This is the peak pose for winter, but the emotions are always around. It seems like lots of fear is put out there today, but we all have that courage we can dig deep and find. So as we inhale, we lift the head up, use that blowing out the candle sound to blow out that fear. Have that courage to move through the dark. Bring the head down. Inhale. Exhale. Having that courage to find our way through the darkness. Release down. One more time. Inhale. Blowing out the candle. This is also a good way to do a squat pose if you have knee issues, because then we don't have the impact here. So let's part the feet a little bit, reach toward the ankles or the outer blades of the feet. Happy baby. Maybe pressing down in between that second and third toe, right at the balls of the feet, first point of the kidney meridian. It's the wellspring of life, so that's a good one to massage. Breathe. There are no real contraindications for this one. So from there, we'll bring the soles of the feet down. You may want a blanket if you want to be in reclined cobbler's pose for several breaths before taking your shavasana, or just moving into your final relaxation, shavasana. The most important pose of your practice integrates your practice. Let's bring awareness back to our fingers and our toes, gently fluttering our eyelids as we roll to one side. And joining me in seated as you are ready. To conclude our practice today, let's do the 10 heart meditation. And that's simply drawing 3 hearts around the face and 3 hearts around the torso. Self-love. 3 hearts around our field. Self-love. And then creating that 10th heart with our fingers and our thumb, placing it over our heart center, near our heart chakra. Thank you all for joining me in this practice today. I hope to see you again on Tuesday. Namaste.